much, Don. They say, there is, in the philosophical basis of cybersecurity, they say that identity is actually the basis of all cyber problems. If we were able to identify that the right user is using the right system with the right data on the right device, with the right permissions, then we wouldn't have any other problems. So it's actually the core problem of the internet, philosophically speaking. If we will be able to solve that, obviously we will not need any more cybersecurity. I want to call the next speaker to the stage, another Israeli success story, a beautiful company with an amazing journey and amazing impact. The person that I'm going to call to the stage is going to talk about fighting attacker sophistication and scale, identity security for the new threat landscape. I want to call to the stage co-founder, chairman, and CEO of CyberArk, Udi Mokady. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Manny. Great to be here. Hi, everybody. I'm excited to be here for many reasons, but I'm also the warm-up band for the Minister of Defense. So that's also fun for me. And again, great to be back and great to see so many people in person. So CyberArk, from my perspective, and Manny, thanks for the introduction, represents the expansion from startup nation to also scale-up nation. We started CyberArk here and took the company public in 2014 and created really a global company with more than 8,000 customers and employees around the world, with Israel really as the frontier of our innovation and cyber innovation. Today I'm actually going to talk about debt and how to overcome debt, but it's not a financial course, but I'm actually going to talk about cyber debt. Cyber debt that is a result of good things and the world really becoming more and more digital. But how do we handle it and some solutions around it. So the last 2 years for everybody here, I'm sure, have gone by like a blink, or definitely have been crazy times. And these were years where organizations, governments, they all scrambled to move and work differently. All of you learned to work from home. We consume more of our orders and everything we buy and do digitally, and the process in behind the scenes was organizations scrambled and ran fast to digitize. It could be the enabling work from home. It could be adopting cloud solutions, and definitely a big shift in IT infrastructure. Behind the scenes, as an identity security company centered on privileged access, we wanted to find out how does these 2 years really reflect behind the scenes in our customers and in organizations around the world. We actually took a third party to conduct a survey with over almost 2,000 decision makers around the world, and with an angle of what did this rush to digitize do to your identity security, and what did it do to your identities? And so the first thing that we heard from everyone is 99% of them said that they had do or die digital transformation projects in their organizations where the CEO, the CIO said, you have to make this happen. Whether it's creating a consumer applications, whether it's, of course, enabling employees to work from home, do or die projects that they had to conduct in this massive rush, 99% of them. And behind the scenes, what this created was the creation of thousands of identities. And what am I referring to? And Doron, just before me, talked about what identities are, and here I'm going to provide two aspects. There's human identities, which we're all familiar with, but there's also machine identities. So we're used to the log on. I'm Udi, and I'm interacting with a system, and maybe I have 30 types of accounts that I'm interacting with. But machines and applications also behave like humans and consume credentials and identities to interact. And they're actually 45 times more identities created for machines than for humans. So imagine an organization with thousands of employees is going to have tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands of digital identities created as they digitally transform, as they adopt digital technologies. And so we don't just have the proliferation of human and non-human identities, they also have more and more access to sensitive data. Now we're used to, CyberArk pioneered the space called privileged access management. How do we secure the IT, the developers who need privileged access to their systems? And those of course have sensitive access, but this survey found that actually 52% of the workforce have sensitive access. So it could be the HR department, it could be the finance department. They're accessing sensitive information, and they actually have pseudo-administrative rights to add users, to change things in the systems. That's the humans. On the other side, you see the 68%, where 68% of digital identities or machine identities have access to sensitive data. That could be robotic process automation. That could be other systems that are running processes behind the scenes, and they're accessing sensitive data. And of course, this is where we come to the cyber debt. When you have thousands of identities created, those identities have access to sensitive data. The survey responders said, well, actually, more than 52% of them said new identities created are unprotected. We don't have identity security controls because, again, like I said, it was a do or die project. We had to scramble and run and create those projects. And so those are the numbers with regards to kind of regular identities. When it comes to secrets management, those identities created for machines, 87% of organizations said that they couldn't keep up and put controls behind ahead of these identities. And of course, debt has consequences. Cybersecurity debt has consequences. Over 70% of the responders said that they had a ransomware attack in the last 12 months. Most of them said that they had even 2 or more ransomware attacks. We saw a lot of that, especially in healthcare organizations, but organizations around the world. Most of them said that they experienced some form of supply chain attack, whether it's some of the famous ones that we all heard about in recent years, with a higher number, over 88% of energy and utilities talking about supply chain attacks in the last 12 months. And you can see some of the logos here. Major organizations have experienced attacks, including software vendors. Now, Ran Shachor before me, and of course throughout the last 2 days, there's a great explanation of what's going on the attacker side. Digital transformation and innovation isn't just for the good guys. Digital transformation and innovation is also happening on the attacker forefront. They're also utilizing modern technologies. You do micro-virtualization in order to skip some security controls. You leverage tools that were created by governments and have leaked into the wild. And so we're seeing increasingly sophisticated attack techniques. We're seeing supply chain type of work where hackers are servicing each other and working in great collaboration on the dark web. They're just collaborating greatly. And we're seeing more operationalized attacks where there's a real purpose behind even a criminal or a ransomware type attack. So I think in the dimension of things that we have to look at is identities are proliferating for a good reason, for digital transformation. The other axis is attackers are innovating and going after this. So again, our logo is blue. We are optimistic, and we believe that our role as security companies is to enable the embrace of modern technology. So what can be done? So first of all, like you would do in the physical world, protect the crown jewels. If there is so much change happening in the IT infrastructure, if there's so much proliferation of identities, let's protect the crown jewels. So step number 1, we believe, is to really implement strategies to secure privileged access so that even if in that assumed breach scenario that was talked a lot about today, the attackers won't get access to I would say, strong access to systems and expand beyond the regular privileged user or beyond the most sensitive user to all users with identity security controls. And then how do you put those horses back and they ran off as part of these big projects? And here there are good frameworks. The zero trust is of course a wide definition, but implement a zero trust approach, even, of course, to a new project. How are we connecting our suppliers? How are we connecting our consumers? How are we connecting our employees? And of course, ahead of time to not accrue this debt, but also go back and clean that cyber debt with a no credential left behind approach. And I think number 3, which is the best forum to talk about, is Cyber Week, that brings together really that public and private collaboration, is also embracing initiatives on the forefront from private and government. We've seen the White House put out some directives that will actually provide guidance on the software bill of materials, where a customer will be able to see, okay, what are these goods? What does it contain? What is this source code? What source codes are contained, so that I can actually look at it and protect myself in a supply chain approach. Of course, frameworks like NIST and others that help us guide through this maze. And of course, continuing to invest in this ecosystem defense, and I'll talk about that in a session. At CyberArk, we wake up every morning with one mission, is provide a modern identity security solution to enable the both sides, the expansion and use of modern technologies, while really covering all types of identities against advanced attacks. We pioneered, as I said, the privileged access space, so we know what does it take to put controls over users with highly sensitive access. And throughout these past couple of years, we expanded to what we call identity security. How do we manage access for all types of users? Of course, starting with privileged access, but all types of users, and workforce employees, and third-party suppliers, and then those machine identities that I talked about, the bots, and the workloads, and even devices, and how do we bridge them and give them just enough and just in time and least privilege access to the resources that they need, and of course finding it and managing the life cycle, and all of that. We talk about it internally. We come from really looking at the nitty-gritty of the most privileged users. Now we're taking those controls to all types of users and identities, because that proliferation is just exploding as we speak. And then I wanted to talk about the ecosystem. In CyberArk, and there are several folks here from the team in the crowd. I see you guys. In CyberArk, we actually, when we engage with our customers, we want to find out what other technologies do you have, because we believe that security is a team sport. Whether it's supporting the IT service management solution that you have for ticketing, so that we integrate with that. Whether it's deep integrations with cloud technologies, with vulnerability management solutions. We invested in more than 200 partnerships with startups to huge companies, more than 300 certified integrations that allow our customers to really get more value and make these security solutions hum and work together. I think this is the best forum to say it, that security is a team game. And I think from what we're seeing, customers appreciate it when a company takes a long-term view in investing time, resources, engineering, and these sort of integration. It also gives us access to the amazing innovation going on, especially here in Israel, but around the world, where we can bring that to our customers. With that, I will wrap up as the warm-up band. A pleasure to see all of you here. There are solutions to this proliferation of identity, but we can't continue to accrue that cyber debt, and we have to get behind it, which is also an enabler to continue to modernize and digitize while staying protected. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you for this wonderful, wonderful presentation. Are we